Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. Holy smokes, it's week number 3 already to the Better Ball Striking series. Hopefully you guys have had some pretty awesome success through the first 2 weeks. In fact, with the comments that I've been getting, it sounds like people are really starting to get some good stuff coming off the club face, which is always nice, right? Going out there and being able to hit the golf ball in the center of the club face and knowing that you have complete control of the thing that matters the most is pretty damn fun, right? Well, at least I think it's fun. Oh yeah, remember to subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so and click the notification bell. I think most of you have already done so that are watching this series of videos. Got it? Also, click the like button for me below if you like this video. Thanks. Today, what we're gonna be doing is something that I didn't plan on doing from the start of this series. In fact, I made the adjustment because I said to myself, it's very important that people understand in the world of golf that front to back dispersion, so front to back dispersion and side to side dispersion are equally as important. When you go out there and you're hitting the golf ball on the button of the club face with every single one of your clubs and you're doing it at a high frequency, then there's a pretty good chance that your front to back dispersion is gonna start getting under control. What I mean is this, if you go out there and play golf with a professional, you're gonna find that they have something that you probably don't, and that is crazy good distance control. They look at their numbers and they're hitting it to a specific number. But what they also have is the ability to be able to work the golf ball in 2 different directions. I do have Flight Scope out here today. That's what you're hearing beeping in the background. I think there's some sort of firmware update that it has to go through. It's not my pacemaker. It's not some sort of heart monitor. It's just a very low beep that's driving me crazy. It is what it is. You do not need to have Flight Scope. You do not need to have data tracking for this to work. You can do this in your backyard. You can do this on the driving range. The way that I want you to set this up is I want you to have 3 alignment sticks or 3 golf clubs or 3 pieces of string directly in front of your golf ball. I want you to have 1 ball pointed directly down the center at your target, okay? If you have a net, you're hitting it right into the middle of your net. Put a paper plate in the middle of your net with a big bullseye on it. I have a line pointed way off towards right field. I have a line pointed way off towards left field. These lines on the side of the center line are going to be your draw line and your fade line. This is where we're gonna start working to try to manipulate the path very small amounts into out and out to in just by thinking where our shoulders and chest are pointing. Under no circumstance are your shoulders and your chest gonna be pointed 45 degrees off to the right or 45 degrees off to the left when you start to release the golf club. We need to feel something very exaggerated so that you can actually see a little bit of a change in where the ball is gonna be starting in relationship to your target line. I also have a line down on the ground that's my foot line. So my foot line and this green line coming out of the center should be very much parallel with one another. This is how you're gonna set this up. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be first hitting 10 balls where we're gonna be trying to hit it nice and straight. When you do this, what you're gonna try to do is when the hands and arms are getting ready to release, I want your shoulders to be square to that green line. I want you to feel like your shoulders are square as your hands and arms are passing in front. Now, something for you to note, that when your hands and arms on a straight shot, when they start to leave the hitting area, are gonna have this little bit of left turn on them. Your shoulders are gonna continue to kind of turn open. You're gonna see a little bit of tilt happen if you keep your head and chest back in behind the ball. The golf swing works on an inclined plane. It works on an arc, okay? If your hands and your arms go way out towards right field or way in the other direction, you're getting way, way, way out of control with your path. And this drill will certainly help you tone things back by working on the opposite direction, if you know what I'm saying. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. But when we get to the point of when we're starting to hit draws, I want you to feel something over exaggerated on purpose so that you can actually start to see what it's like to get the ball to start away from the target line and move back towards the target line. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna hit a couple balls here. We're not gonna hit the 10 balls that I want you to hit. We're gonna hit it nice and straight. And I want you to do exactly the same protocol. I would warm up with the stuff that we did on videos 1 and 2, making sure that you've got it in your brain. We're not changing anything that we're doing as far as movements or release is concerned. All we're gonna do is we're gonna focus on where our shoulders are pointed to ultimately try to get our path and our starting line straight down the middle. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take my setup. I've got the ball on a tee on purpose because I don't wanna have my setup moving all over the place. I'm gonna preset my hips in an impact position. I'm gonna have my shoulders feel nice and square to that green line right there. Just preset the positions that you're gonna be trying to work into and through. Okay, once you feel it, let's go ahead and hit a shot. And we're gonna look at the shot shape. Okay, so that was a little bit on the skinny side and it moved away from the center line. So my ball started just a little bit to the right of the center line. So it was a 1.1 degree in to out path and the face was still open there. So that was pretty skanky. Remember, you want to be hitting the ball very solidly at this point. 90% is what we were aiming for. So we're gonna do that again. Hips are gonna open, shoulders are gonna feel square. Lead hand comes back on. Okay, you can even try to feel this position here, back to impact, okay? Remember, you're just trying to create good feels and good visuals. Okay, we're gonna try to feel our shoulders are square to that line as the release starts to happen, okay? Okay, so that ball started a little bit left of the line this time, but the path should be pretty close to zero. So you can see how my subconscious reacted to the ball that went out to the right. 0.7 degrees was pretty close. Now, when you start developing your stock shot, I want you to be on one side of the plane line or the other. If you're gonna go for a draw, you wanna be somewhere 1 to 3 degrees in to out. Same thing if you're trying to hit a fade, 1 to 3 degrees out to in. When you're doing a drill of this nature, we're gonna try to inflate the path up 5, 6, 7 degrees because I want you to feel a dramatic difference. You get it? Okay. Now that I've hit 10 balls, I've looked at my golf shots, I'm hitting them solid, they're starting down the target line, there's not a lot of movement to them. What I wanna do is I'm gonna start hitting 10 balls with my shoulders feeling really closed. So as I have my hips open up, I wanna feel my shoulders are pointed out towards right field. I'm not gonna be closed this much, I promise you. Again, it's a feel, okay? So I want you to do the same thing. You're gonna still make sure that you're focused on the left wrist, rotating the same way that you've trained it. And now you're gonna feel your shoulders pointed off towards right field when you're letting the release start to happen. Okay, so preset yourself at impact. Feel your shoulders really closed. Okay, exaggerate it. Now let's go ahead and hit a shot. Let's see what happens to the shot shape. Okay, so the path there was 5.3 degrees in to out with a face that was 6.6 degrees shut in relationship to that path. So that's why that ball actually started more straight down the line. A lot of you are gonna have a very hard time doing that because your face is gonna stay open. That's okay. You know what to do now in order to get the face closed in relationship to that plane line. So let's watch exactly what you would expect to see here. Okay, so preset yourself. Shoulders are gonna feel closed, okay? So there you go. That's a good example of what you'll probably see, is that ball started to the right of the target line because my path was pretty inflated. 7.9 in to out with 2.2 degrees of face closure in relationship to the path. So what I would do to offset that is I would try to turn the face down harder. But when you start leaving yourself in these higher sort of environments with the path being that inflated, you're gonna have to work harder with your hands, which now starts to involve more timing. That's why I don't like to get the path inflated too much on one side over to the other. But I wanted to show you what you would need to see there. So if I kept that path in the same spot, and I wanted to hit it so it worked back towards center line, then I would have to increase the closure in the club face quite a bit. And that would start a big old slinger back towards the line. I don't like to see that sort of movement, but again, just know that that's how you would manipulate it to get it come back towards center line. So you're gonna hit 10 balls down the draw line. This drill is super fun to do around the house or do on the drive range. You're doing it with slow speed at first, and next week we're gonna start picking up the pace. I'm gonna teach you guys how to start practicing all of this stuff together as you move forward with the rest of your lives. So now let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum. We're gonna go and try to hit some fades. This is going to be very hard for me. You're gonna find that with what you're currently doing on the golf course as your stock shot, maybe you like it, maybe you don't, that the opposite end of the spectrum is going to feel, and I repeat, feel terrible. It's not gonna feel great. To me, at this point in my change, it still doesn't feel awesome. It's hard for me to demonstrate properly, but I'm getting better with it, so I can actually start showing it on camera because of the fact that I've taken so much time to get this stuff moving. We're gonna follow the same protocol. We're gonna take our setup, we're gonna open our hips, we're gonna open our shoulders. I usually do this, again, with just the trail hand on the club, trying to feel my shoulders and my chest kind of pointed in that direction, okay? They're not gonna be pointed this far open when we get to the point of contact. Bring the lead hand back on there, okay? Now let's go ahead and hit a shot and see what it produces. I'm gonna try to visualize and feel my chest getting to that spot as the release starts to happen. Okay, so that ball started maybe just a fraction left of center, and it started more down the center line and moving slightly to the right, but we should see a path number that's more on the out to inside. Yeah, so it's 1.7 left. This felt to me, I'm not gonna lie to you, it felt to me like I was swinging over the top by 10 degrees. That's the feel versus real. That's why you have to exaggerate this stuff. So let's do one more and see if I can get it even more exaggerated. So I'm gonna turn my hips open, shoulders and chest are kind of pointed down that direction. Visualize it. Okay, reset yourself. Okay, that ball definitely started left. So again, that was 2.4 degrees left. That felt like it was 35. I had the face shutting down quite a bit in relationship to that, so it offset it and it didn't allow it to cut back towards the line. So what you can do is you can actually start looking at the shot shape if you're hitting the golf ball solidly and have a better understanding of what you need to do with either the face or the path. So that ball started a little bit more left of my center line, but didn't work back. So I probably had the face shutting down a little bit too much in relationship to the path. What I want you to remember is this. When you start this process, I want you to keep these two lines, your draw line and your fade line, extremely exaggerated for a while. Then as you start to get really, really good with it, you're starting to hit that nice little controlled fade, and you want to really dial it in so it doesn't move much, off the line and then have to work as hard to get back to the line. Slowly bring this line in. Again, these are just visual cues for you to use in this process so you can do what? So you can make the small adjustments so that you have now not just control of the club face and the hitting area, but you've also got control of the path so that you can actually start shaping the golf ball. Pretty freaking awesome, huh? 10 reps straight, 10 reps out to the right, 10 reps out to the left. Repeat that process first 2 days. The first 2 days all the way up to 100 reps or 300 reps. On day 3 through 7, what I want you to do is I want you to start thinking about what your stock shot is ultimately gonna land on. So if you wanna hit a straight shot, then most of your practice is gonna be trying to hit it straight. I would go through the practice session and still try to hit a few draws and a few fades in the mix, just so you have the ability to be able to still work it. If you want to hit a draw, you're going to predominantly focus on just hitting a bunch of draw swings in the practice session. If you want to hit a fade, you hit a bunch of predominant fades in the session, and then slowly start working in a couple of draws and a couple of straight ones just to make sure that you have things really dialed in. You're going to see that helps you keep the path tight, close to zero on one side over the other. So you're not inflating it and working on this big slinging draw that you're gonna come back and try to get me to fix 10 years down the road. It's not fun when you start getting path numbers that are inflated 8, 9, 10 degrees into out, because it makes it much harder for us to manage the club face. So I want you to get out there, I want you to practice it. Remember, if you're not hitting the golf ball solidly, stop watching or stop doing this video, go back to videos 1 and 2, and then bring your booties back here and start working back through the shot shape. Next week is gonna be where we put it all together. This is where we're gonna start putting on the gas. I'm gonna start talking to you about the timing of the release to add a little bit of speed to it. I'm gonna start talking to you about different ways to practice. And I'm also gonna start talking to you about the position of the spine at impact, so how it can ultimately affect your angle of attack and your low point in the swing. So have some fun this week. Get out there, develop a stock shot, and start wowing the crowd that you know how to hit it in 2 different directions. Even if they're small shots, it's still fun to do. Here comes a little buttery fade for you folks at home.